Good evening.
Good evening. Perfect timing. I just finished touching up my nails. I was gardening today.
Well, perfect timing then.
I got nothing to hide from our viewers. Hold on. Let me, I do wear clothes, but still, for the most part, I got nothing to hide. I'm pretty much out there. Wouldn't you say, Tony? Wouldn't you say after all these months?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that said, I started spreading the word around, and I talked with the general manager of KGRA today, our mutual friend, Bill. And I got a really big announcement to make, and that is that we move this show next Friday night live to KGRA Radio worldwide. And we are, you've been with them now for a year, and you speak so very highly of them that when Bill called me, it was a no-brainer to do this. And of course, go ahead.
The best part, too, is that we will continue to broadcast to your regular channels. So your audience that's already watching can still go to the same locations that they are now to see it. None of that will change. Just will also be broadcast over KGRA's radio network and in their members area. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And, it'll bring a boatload more people to us that might not know what we're doing. They might know who you are. They might know who I am, but they don't necessarily know that we do this together.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Today I got my confirmation that the one and the only John E. L. Tenney will be our first guest.
That's just fantastic. There couldn't be better news than that.
There just couldn't be anybody better for us to relaunch A World Awakening into the stratosphere. I mean,
right.
He's it. I lecture with John. I've traveled many, many miles to go be in his presence up in Michigan over and over and over again at different events over the years. We've gotten to know each other very well. I met him in 2014, I believe. 2014, I met him in person. I was a big fan. And in fact, I'm not a paranormal watcher. I don't watch anything paranormal, but I came across him in something years and years ago. He popped before I even started, right after I got a computer and figured out how to use it. And he popped into a news feed or something. And I listened to him and I was like, oh my God, this guy's brilliant. Then I started doing my homework and looking around and finding, oh God, when I got on Twitter, I found him on Twitter and started watching Tenney Answers Tweets, which is hysterical. And over the years, we've gotten to know each other very, very well. He's one of my nearest and dearest. And so we're going to relaunch this, what I think is a brilliant concept. I think that this is the time for us to talk about a world that is awakening to itself, a world of people who are seeing their old reality with new eyes, a world that is, being shaken and wakened by a series of events that are happening geopolitically, socioeconomically, and in every other conceivable way. We're living at a pivotal and truly tumultuous time because this is the paradigm shift. And what else is it supposed to do except cause us to spiritually ascend, to come to a higher level of understanding and cooperation with each other. But it's not easy. Nothing, how many months have we talked about this, Tony? Things are never going to be the same again. And thank you for putting up the Pleiades behind us.
Of course.
That's home. That's home for me. I don't know why, and I don't know why I know that, but I do know that I come from somewhere in that star cluster. So anyway, speaking of raising the vibration, Tony, I met this woman a few short weeks ago, and I've known her forever. I went to take Peanut Buttercup out for a walk at the front of the resort where we were staying in St. Augustine, Florida, for a Strange Escapes event with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry, which was wonderful. It was an extraordinary event, extraordinary. And, this woman I saw her a few times. She was kind of hanging back and laying low and watching people and just observing. She was observing. And I walked out the front, and little Miss Peanut, she's like, gotta go find some grass and squat. And so she's got like a 30-foot leash. So I'm standing there, and here's this lovely lady sitting on the bench next to us, and she starts commenting on my gorgeous, wonderful dog. Well, of course, I fell in love with her immediately. And then we started talking, and my father came out, and we all started talking, and we became fast friends over the course of that weekend. We ate dinner together. We ate lunch together. We went on an investigation together. We shared stories. She was like, she was like, almost like she was just there to help me. And she did.
Wow.
And I fell in love with her. And she came to our house last week and spent the day with us and did 1,000 things to help my father and 1,000 things to help me. And we came together in this remarkable way. And I thought, what a great way to end. I know I'm talking too much, but that's okay, because once she comes on, it's all bets are off. I need to tell people this. We can meet and fall in love just that fast with each other. We can. And it's because there's a part of us. How many times in your life, more were so recently for me, but that I've run into somebody that I'm like, oh my God, there you are. Where have you been? You're like 5 decades late. Where have you been? And you just have that instant sense of attachment, camaraderie, affection, certain knowing of another person's essence, their consciousness, their soul. And we just came together in this remarkably beautiful way. And I tell you right now, I will know this woman for the rest of my life and beyond. And she has been absorbed into my family unit. And so without further ado, and, please feel free to stay as long as you like, or just let us go. I mean, whatever you want. If you have a question, you can hop in. You know how we do this. We ride by the seat of our pants. But, and I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance to get a word in edgewise, but I've had too much Coke. I've been on the run all day long. I'm like 8 minutes late for the show in terms of sign in. And I just had so much to do today that I was late. So I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. October is crazy for all of us. Totally understand.
Oh my God. What a day. Oh, I could go on another 10 minutes, but I won't. What I will do is introduce my new old friend, Erin Bush.
I don't even have the words for the words that just came out of your mouth. I'm floored and honored. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, she just ma'amed me. She just ma'amed me.
It's a Georgia thing. It's a nerve thing.
Did you hear it?
We'll work through it. We'll get there. You can smack me next weekend for that.
Okay. All right. I have more Coke because that's what I need is more caffeine. But okay, good. But you had a chance to meet Tony.
I did.
We did.
Okay. Did you tell Tony anything about your wonderful self?
She did. She explained how you guys met and that she's from St. Augustine. And I got a nice background of how you guys got introduced to each other and on top of the things that you said. But like you said, there are certain souls, spirits in the world that you instantly know. You guys were obviously had known each other in past lives or whatever you want to call it, alternate universes, and you just reconnected. And that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. And Erin, you had told me that it was kind of a spur of the moment, kind of impetuous thing for you to come to the Strange Escapes, that you felt like there was some reason that you needed to be there. And now you know the reason. I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I had just this journey started for me about 2 years ago on sort of a spiritual path. And I've been a paralegal for 9 years. I worked for great people, but I just was still so unhappy. And so I gave my notice. I left in July and just decided to see where the universe wanted to take me. And I came across it completely randomly on Instagram, I think somewhere, Adam or Amy's page. And I said to my husband, I'm like, and I said, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, they're coming to where I live. I mean, how do you say no to that? Right. Like it was destined to be. And I said, I don't need to investigate. I just want to be amongst people that I am super fascinated by what they do. And to find out that y'all were going to be there was just a bonus. But that was like, I'll just get to see them speak. That'll be great. And here we are.
Yeah, it turned out to be more than that, huh?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Dad talks to you every day because you've been helping him so enormously with his business, which is growing by leaps and bounds. We're still really in the middle of a pandemic. I cannot believe, his good fortune, all these people that want to make TV commercials. That's fabulous.
Yep.
There's something about you that is ethereal. That's the word.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Ethereal.
Thank you.
Like you're not of this world and you're in it, but you're not of it. And part of the time that we spent in St. Augustine, you shared that with me, not by saying it, by being it. It's
one
like
of the first things you said to me.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, as something like, you're not from here.
Yeah.
The first thing I looked in your eyes and I said, oh, you're an Arcturian. Nice to meet you. Or, something smart ass like that. I did. That's what I did.
You did. And I said, I think I've heard that. I have heard that at least one other time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't that surprised to hear that.
Yeah. Well, and then we started talking about hybrids and the possibility that all of us have some other race from some other place as part of us on this planet, on this plane of action. We're all here to serve a different purpose and yet the same. We each fulfill a role. Oh, Francois from Quebec is in with us tonight, and Brennan is here, and Diane Hilbert is here, and here come the names. Everybody's saying hello. Gina Bankson, who I have not talked to in a very long time. She could call me, it wouldn't kill her. She's got my number. That's the thing. I just felt like what would be important to do is to bring you on tonight and let people hear not only how we met and instantaneously connected, but how in the last few months you deliberately chose to live in the light. You described your situation, and that were working with lovely people, but you were doing something that did not fulfill you spiritually. And in the midst of a pandemic, you and a lot of other people have decided to transform their lives. A deliberate choice to remake yourself, to allow what that magical, mystical part of you to come fully to the surface, to acknowledge it, to embrace it, and to begin working with it. And I think that is nothing short of inspirational. You inspire me.
Well, thank you. I think there's so many of us, especially, the pandemic brought out so much good and so much bad.
It did.
Everywhere,
both.
Right?
Yep.
And I think,
light.
Yeah, it's, everybody kind of had to go within, and some of us went really far in, and I had gotten certified as a Reiki master like December 2019. So pandemic hits in March. I basically had to switch immediately to doing distance, but I was given a full year to just practice and learn energy healing and really started shifting that. I think that's my path. Like the lights kind of, the light bulb kind of went off. But it's still that society pressure of, oh, well, it's, you have a good job and but I was really unhappy, and it wasn't the people, that I worked with. I just knew I was supposed to do something different that made my soul happy at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, there's a certain amount of surrender in that. And that's really hard for people, especially when you grow up in a society, as that it's, work harder, work hard.
Yeah.
To shift, that's really difficult, but people are doing it. Light workers are coming out of the woodwork all over the place. People are doing this everywhere, and there's got to be something to that, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely. I think that now is the time. And tap, tap, it's now is the time. And we're all coming together with purpose and reason. We're all coming together to share our gifts. Your strength is in one area, my strength is in another, but all of us are like-minded. We share this, a common understanding. We're all waking up together. Nobody on the continuum is ahead or behind another. We're all precisely where we're supposed to be at any given moment in our own personal evolution. Absolutely. And it's knowledge that we're gaining. I spoke with you earlier today as I said, hey, not for nothing, don't mind the late notice, but would you like to be on my show tonight? It just hit me. I was out meditating, which means I was having a cigarette. And this morning, and I said, oh my God, Erin, perfect. There it is. I called you. I said, what are you doing tonight? You said nothing. I said, aha. Now you are. I know.
It's an amazing, and had you asked me, had we met 2 years ago, I would have not been anywhere close to a position where I would have been able to say yes and been comfortable with it, because I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. All of this, spiritual stuff is, I grew up Catholic, as you did. And so I have a base in spirituality, but a different angle. So this was all new for me. And the abilities that I had, I kind of, some weird things that happened as a kid, but never really thought much of it. And then the doors blew wide open. So, and like you said a million times, once you open that door, you cannot close it. That box is open, and it is open forever, and it opened quick, and it was loud, and it was fast.
Yeah. Kind of like Pandora's box.
It really is.
Supernatural. It really is. It's like you open it up and everything comes flying out of it.
It's like, finally, we've been waiting for you. You're hearing things, you're seeing things, like, and it was like, okay, we need to take this a little bit at a time. Chunk it out. We'll work through this. But it was something like I've never looked back. And I said that, I think, to my mom and my husband, probably. I'm like, once we open this, there's no going back. And that was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So and I've never been happier. You just, when you stop living life on everybody else's terms, it makes a difference. So.
Yeah, it does. It does. Was there a singular moment where you said, oh, hell no, I can't do this anymore? Or was it kind of a gradual awareness?
I think I had been unhappy to some degree. It got really hard energetically to go in and deal with that every day, really. It was, once the numbness wears off and now the sensitivity is up, it was really hard because, in law, people aren't with lawyers because they're happy. So energetically is where it started getting tough for me.
Yeah.
And about 18 months ago, I had said to my boss, I'm like, I have to figure something out or I'm not going to be able to do this job anymore. And then every couple of months it was like, I gotta get out of this. But that obligation to please people, stuck. So there were several, but it just, you have to kind of push yourself over the edge to have a little faith that there's something else there to catch you, that you are divinely guided and protected by something bigger than yourself, no matter what that looks like for you,
Yeah. And you had told me that you had kind of been living outside of yourself, focusing out of yourself, which you had to because you were doing 10 jobs, one person. I mean, you were, Erin, when you ran down your list of responsibilities, I was like, nope, not in a million years, not in a bajillion years could I do what this woman did for a living. But you went inside and you went deep inside. And that wasn't a spontaneous thing either, was it? It began almost by necessity.
Yeah, I mean,
tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to recall everything that we talked about.
That's correct. I mean, I think when the door, your family has been exposed to so much of that so young, right? So I'm like super late in the game. But I think once you decide to open that door, and if you really want to transform your life, then shadow work is the next thing. It goes hand in hand because, as we all know, this journey is not all rainbows and unicorns all the time.
No.
There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of frustration because you're having to really dig down deep and get to the parts of you that actually hurt, so that you can clear that and keep doing that. So it was kind of by necessity because I wanted to keep going on this path and I wanted to maximize it for what it was. And so, I think it's necessary. You really have to go within. You can't do it any other way. Nobody can do it for you.
No.
It's a solitary journey on a lot of levels.
It really is a solitary journey. And, as I've always heard, happiness is an inside job. I mean, money's not going to make you happy. It helps. Don't get me wrong. But it's not, it's a source of freedom is what it is. Yeah. And that's it. Once you compartmentalize it, put it in its right and proper category, then it's over there. And it's your freedom to come and go as you please. For sure. Or to be pinned down paying bills. And, all of us on that continuum are somewhere along it, and usually in different spots from the beginning to the end of the month, So, there's that. But that's not the end all be all of our existence. I mean,
no,
our essence, this is soul school. I am convinced this is soul school, and the test precedes the lesson always. And we just have to walk through fire to get to the cool water of the pond, and then throw our pebble in and watch the concentric circles and know that little piece of energy that we've just heaved from ourselves is making a difference in the world. It's touching the shore on all sides by the time it reaches it. And that ripple of energy, that frequency, which can be, by the way, duplicated with sound, water and sound together, magic.
Yeah.
Practitioners know that. But what I would say about that is that you've been putting that vibration out into the world for a very, very long time. If you hadn't been, you couldn't have done that job as long as you did, meeting all needs, and, keeping everybody around you happy and working your essence out. And and then what you had to finally do is go in and re-examine your essence. And not all people need to tear the plant up and examine the roots in order to see where the issue is. For some, they can just sit there and gaze at the plant and know that it's time to bloom in an entirely new way. You don't have to kill the plant to examine it.
No, but you definitely have to I feel like you have to almost reinvent the plant, like replant. I mean, I don't know the best way to but you're right. I mean, it's
fertilizer.
Right.
Miracle Grow.
I think a lot of it too is, I mean, it is not I have always been very impatient. And so this was really a good test for how much do I want to transform who I am, because so much of us are wrapped up in, trauma, whether big or small, perceived, real, not whatever. Like there's so much programming and trauma that we're reacting to that I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to fly off the handle. I didn't want to get snappy all the time. But I wasn't taking care of myself because, like you said, you're an oldest child as well. Like you kind of just, that role, you sort of just do that anyway, So
Yep.
it is definitely an inside job. It is not for the weak either. It's not easy because you have to look at some pretty nasty parts of yourself sometimes. But like you said, the cool water on the other side is worth it. For sure.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think so. I think that this journey's not supposed to be easy.
Mm-mm.
I don't think that we would learn anything from having an easy journey through life. And even people who are born into this world that have every advantage, everything that they could ever want or need or desire, are very often miserable and turn to drugs and turn to alcohol and turn to, become sex addicts, become, when they've got the whole world on the platter in front of them and never have to work for anything, never have to engage with the world in that way in terms of putting something out and being compensated back for it, that transactional part of life.
Energetic exchange of things.
Right. They end up very often being quite lost and disattached. It's almost like a dissociative disorder, like a chronic psychological impairment in terms of interaction with others. So I think that it's good. I think that you will look back in time on what you've just exited and say, I understand why all of that happened now. And all of those people that you touched their lives. Erin, did you have any experiences prior to following your heart with your passion that could have been a booster to go with what your heart was telling you? Or did you just simply always have an interest in the paranormal? That question is from I believe he is 14 years old.
Oh, well, Brennan, my mom's maiden name is Brennan, so we have that in common. That's my sister's middle name. I have always had a fascination with the paranormal. I think this is going to sound really morbid, but it started when I was younger, and it was more of a fascination with death. But not in like it was like you almost know there's something else out there, right? I think innately I think I knew that already. And so I've always had a fascination with death, and then kind of shifted into the paranormal of like what else is out there. And I think at the soul level, it's probably been screaming for a change for 10 to 15 years would be my guess. I just didn't listen, so my biggest advice for anyone who's trying to, figure this out, listen to your gut. Don't deny your intuition. Everyone has it. And the sooner you start paying attention to that little voice in your head or the feeling in your body that's just nagging at you, it's usually not wrong. So I always say, listen to what your gut's telling you, because it very rarely ever leads you the wrong way.
We should have named this particular episode The Butterfly Effect, because really you have broken free of your chrysalis, which once you've got your wings, even though you're just learning to use them, once you've got them, you've got them.
For sure.
And so it's it can be a very long, arduous journey. You're saying 10 or 15 years. We moved out of the farmhouse when I was 21 years old. And I did not pick up a pen to start telling our story until I was 48.
Wow. Just the internalizing and the processing and but it's, we grow up where I think, and it's generational. My parents and I talk about this quite a bit. Like it's, cram it down. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's good. Just, deal with it later, deal with it later, deal with it later. So we become victims of our own cram down effect, for lack of a better way to phrase it. has to come out at some point, and it either comes out in a healthy way, like you chose to write, or, you know, I chose to drink. I've been sober for like 6 years, but I was compensating for a lot of things I didn't know still hurt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think butterfly effect's a good way to describe it. But, you know, I've always had jobs that were pretty intense. So it's like pretty typical pattern for me. So, but I was going to have to overhaul everything to be able to overhaul that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you are just a multitasker, really a type A personality. I think that's my impression anyway. I'm
that
like,
would not be wrong.
You know, you're probably drawing out schematics and coming up with templates in your brain while you're sleeping. You know, and I do
a lot.
I do that too. I just do it in a different way.
Yeah.
I always keep a piece of paper and a pen right beside the bed because I wake up 3 or 4 times during the night. I take Peanut out. I usually wake up at 3. Out we go. And have a word with the galactic family, come back in, write stuff down, go back to sleep, back up at 6:30, then back down sometimes till as late as 9, depending on if I've gotten enough sleep. My brain does not rest very much.
It's hard to slow that down with as much as, you know, the more you hang out in 5D land, the more your brain, I think, you know, there's just you're so much more aware of what's going on and who, you know, who may be out there. And like, it's just a bigger, I can't even say world because that's not the right term. It's a bigger, everything's just bigger once you start playing in 5D. Yeah. And so it's no wonder your brain never slows down. Well, plus with the 8 million pokers you currently have in the fire. You're a multitasker too, ma'am.
Only a slight exaggeration. Oh my God, what have I done? Can you come over?
I can bring Monkey with me.
Oh, good. Yes.
Well, I saw the Bathsheba, the trailer today that they posted on Facebook, and that looks like it's going to be awesome. So that's one of several things you have.
Yeah.
Cooking currently.
You know, I've been working on this documentary for about 4 months, maybe a little longer. Yeah. And not working on it. I mean, like Cream Productions is the company. They're up in Toronto. They've got their own team, their own studios, their own everything. Right. But I was like, I would have to say the main source of information for them. And then convinced everybody in my family, except for my mother, it's just really beyond her to do interviews anymore. But everybody else participated, did a sit down interview for this 2-hour show. And it's, I haven't seen the whole thing. I've seen enough to know that they worked really hard on it. And everything's just kind of popping at once. And I'm glad to have been associated with it to the extent that I was. I feel like they've done a good job telling our truth. I mean, and if I see any discrepancies in it, I'll say so, because I just will. Yeah. But, you know, I haven't watched the entire thing yet, just snippets. You know, I'm hoping that it does well. All I care about is that it tells the truth. And you and I talked about this probably ad nauseum while you were here. You know, for me, it's about the message. I think that there's been way too much melodrama in the field at large and in the telling of our story. Our story is actually pretty simple. It's just, it's kind of a rapid fire series of events that happened over
10 years long.
Yeah, I know it is. I know you just finished volume 1. I know you've hopped into volume 2. I will warn you in advance. Volume 2 is denser and darker, and keep a box of tissues handy.
Yeah, I've needed that a couple of times. I'm giving myself, because I ate volume 1 in 5 days.
Yeah,
I just inhaled it. So I'm going to start volume 2 over the weekend when I can, like, you know, focus on it. But I think there, you know, having read it now, I mean, I've obviously been familiar with the story forever. I I think obviously to read it from y'all, the perspective of the family is how much, and we talked about this earlier today, how much beauty there is in the story. You know, I think there's, you know, of course there's obviously scary things in there, you know, but that to me, like my impression of it isn't the heart of what that house stands for. Like that is pure energetic power, whatever that is. And I think too, you know, the more we spend time, you know, kind of in the world of the spiritual realm, we understand that a little bit better as far as how things can get the way they get, you know, impressions and because it's everything's energy. We're all connected by the same shit, you know, we're all made up of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think
Stardust.
100%. And I think, but that house, I mean, I see that house and I see it a little bit differently now having read the book, because I used to always get like my stomach would get really, but I think I understand that more because there's so much power even through a television screen.
Yeah.
But it's not terror. So, I mean, I didn't live it obviously, but from an outside perspective, to me, it's not scary. It's just powerful. Like, and you said it, you leave that house because you in silence because you dare not speak anything against it. And I think that is absolutely true. And that again, it's all energy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just glad you guys are getting the opportunity to tell it your way.
Yeah. And I'm also really glad that we're doing a 3-day live stream over Halloween weekend for the Dark Zone up there. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, Mom and Christine and Cindy are going to come in remotely, which they all consider to be a safe distance, which is 1,200 miles away. And I don't know if it's far enough, really, not for Cindy.
Well, as we know, energy doesn't matter the distance.
Nope, sure doesn't. Time and distance is irrelevant. But you know, I don't want to say too much because if my sister watches the show tonight, she'll see like, oh, you know, I'm not doing it. Change my mind, not doing it. I'm like, no. We all agreed. But Dad and Nancy and I are going to be there. And every time I walk in that house, it activates that house. And it might be in a very subtle, vague way, a shift in the energy, a change in the temperature, or something will go flying across the room.
Right. You just never know. It's mystifying. I think that's what I said to your dad. I told him I'd fallen down this rabbit hole because how can you not at this point? Like if you're gonna, you know, do things to work with you and your dad, like you need to know the story, the history, you know, like you just need to be, that's the paralegal, I guess. Well researched, I guess. But it there's just so much magic in that house too. Like it's mystifying. That's the word I told your dad. I said, I think I've fallen down that rabbit hole because I find it mystifying. But I think too, with the spirituality part of it, like, would you have had the same spiritual awakening, you know, process, whatever, without that experience? You know, what would your life have looked like without it? You know, may have come
I can't imagine.
You know? I
cannot even imagine living any other life than I've lived, as tumultuous as it has been, as, you know, I'm such a Libra. I mean, the scales are always, you know, one side or the other. But, you know, it really touched my heart because I believe it was this morning when I talked to you that you told me about a quotation in the books, in volume 1, that I, honest to God, what did I do? I got all choked up and I said to you, oh my God, I don't remember writing that. And I know that it was 10 years ago that I published the first book. But I don't remember writing that. It was almost like that came from someplace else. And yet I remember writing it down in a notebook as a child. You know,
I think outside, if I remember, because I just finished the book. So I think it was, you were sitting out on the wall with, there it is, with the crows. And you thought, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you said you had felt like you were channeling that because you were so young when you wrote that. Those are not the words of a child.
Either I am losing my mind or finding my way. I am here now, perched upon the precipice, on the verge of flying elsewhere. I am almost home.
It's a beautiful, it hit me like like an electric bolt, basically. And I told you I wasn't kidding. I'm going to have you write it, and then I'll probably get tattooed somewhere, because like the story that it related to was obviously very different. There was death not long after that.
Yes.
There was April's friend, right?
Nancy's friend, Lenore.
But to me, I got a totally different, I applied it, I guess, to a spiritual journey for people, because you're standing on the precipice. You can either stay the same, or like you said earlier, grow your wings. Those are your options, Yeah. And if like the going home part is finding your soul's true path and purpose. And so it just really spoke to me. And so I wanted to make sure that you knew that. Made a big impression for sure.
That was so sweet. I sent you pictures of crows. I said, here, I love crows so much, and owls. I said, but I know it, I was talking to crows. I was a little kid having conversations with crows, and I thought everybody else could too. I really did.
Right.
I really did. I thought everybody could communicate with the animal world exactly the same way that I could. And so I sent you several pictures of crows, and then we went to bats, baby bats. I am the night, fear me. We laughed and laughed. You were a big part of my day today, and a very much needed part, because I've been under a lot of stress, with a lot of obligations hitting me at one time. And my poor father, he came around the corner earlier tonight as I was rushing to get an email off before I got ready to do the show. And he's like, can I do anything to help you? And I was like, no, just don't bother me. And he looks at his watch. That drives me batty when he looks at his watch. Notice the next time you're here, or the next time we're together, or we go there, whatever, notice how often he looks at his watch. It drives me nuts. Why? Because time is illusion. And why? Because I know what time I have to start my show in 3D. I know that, but I'm in 5D right now. Don't even. It's
going to hang here.
And so then, after I snapped his head off, I had to go out and say, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm just under a lot of stress. Here, call my producer. And I dialed her up. And I said, tell her that I'm a miserable bitch from hell right now, that I'm under a lot of stress, that I don't know why the email was formatted incorrectly that I sent to her. But tomorrow I will work with her. And I'm really embarrassed about how it looked. And I have to be on my show in 15 minutes. And I cannot talk to her now. So you call her and you tell her all of that. And he did. He did.
I had a mistyped email myself today that I screwed up for my, I work for a podcaster, and she's an author as well. And I fired off an email, and I had words in it that I did not put in there. I know that because I checked it. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. I emailed the woman. I'm like, my computer must be possessed today.
And oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I said the exact same thing tonight to my father. I think that Gmail is possessed. Something, it's the ghosts. I'm telling you, it's something. There's something going on. Too. Yeah. And it's retrograde, and everything came out like a mishmash. Like I took the Scrabble board of tiles and just turned it over upside down, and it was all organized when I hit send. And then when I looked at it, it looked like, are you kidding me? So of course my head blew off, and it was 9:15. And I didn't even have a face on or anything yet. Oh,
it's been a day.
Oh, what a day. Started quite early, but it couldn't possibly end a better way. It just couldn't possibly end a better way than being with you tonight.
I know, this has been so exciting. I just didn't expect that. When you see her like, hey, can you do me a favor? And I'm like, I'm thinking I need to get in the car and head down to Winter Garden to pick up something. I don't know. And when you dropped that, I was like, what? Because I've never done anything like this before. So this has just been, it's so much fun. And just, it's
like, see, didn't I tell you to just relax? It doesn't matter how many people are eavesdropping. They're all part of the conversation psychologically. All their energy is all tied in with what we're doing. And occasionally we'll get a question or a little comment. But this is just a couple of friends having a wonderful conversation that's worthy of sharing in the world.
It's just like hanging out on your terrace with a freshly made cup of coffee by one amazing Roger Perrin,
Yeah, he is.
That was a fun day. I mean, that was, I came down there obviously to talk to Roger about his stuff with the TV production. And then it was like 4 hours later, I'm still just kicking it at the house. It was so much fun. Came home with books and a poster and all kinds of stuff. It was like Christmas, just cool. It's just, it is, it's cosmic. It's divine. There's destiny, past lives, something involved with that.
Yeah.
Somehow. We'll figure it out eventually, I would imagine.
That's Kim Dotson. She's my girlfriend too, from Michigan.
From last week.
Yeah, I'm going to the Mid-Michigan Paracon, joining her and Justin in a few weeks.
Did you see Justin's witch dance on Facebook?
Yes.
I love it.
I know. Well, Facebook, for all of its flaws and foibles, and God knows there's no shortage. Instead of cleaning out the Russian bots, they're trying to figure out a new smiley face thing to put in, one more thing that you can use to like something or emoji, right? Whatever. It's like, okay, there's these priorities, this thing called priorities. Okay, that aside that Mark Zuckerberg is obviously an alien from another planet, and does not necessarily have the best intentions for humanity, might I say. I still use Facebook because it's the official home of the paranormal. Yeah. Everybody who's in the paranormal field has a Facebook page, and we all stay in touch with each other, and we all know each other. And then I can't tell you how many people I have met on Facebook first, and then met them in real life at different events around the country.
Yeah.
And you know what I've discovered? They do use their real names. Those are their real profile pictures. They really do come from Terre Haute, Indiana. Really, people are, for the most part, very honest in the way that they portray themselves in their online profiles. And then when I meet them, it's like, oh, there you are. I know you.
Well, and I would hope so. You're dealing with people who are psychic, for lack of a better phrase. Starting off lying is a real good start, because you walk in that door and they're going to know that real quick. And it's like,
Now, I have found that the vast majority of the people in this field, people that are fascinated by it, curious by it, working in it, gravitating to it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's usually several reasons, that it's kind of a magnetized subculture society. It's not a cult. We couldn't possibly be more different than we are. All of us have different gifts, different interests, different politics, different this, different that. We are a real eclectic mix of people.
Oh, yeah.
But what we have in common is so unique, so distinctive, so different than what what the vast majority of people would pursue as an interest, a hobby, a distraction or whatever.
For sure.
That what we have done is kind of amalgamate. We've kind of gelled as a community.
Yeah.
And I find that the vast majority of the people in this community are good and kind and loving and giving, genuine, authentic, and honor their own essence and yours. The whole namaste thing, that's real. That's a real thing. I honor you, you honor me, we are one. And it is that oneness, just like when a whole puzzle is put together, you have finally built the whole border and filled in all the pieces, and every piece is different. It has different colors and a different shape, but it all fits together so perfectly. Like if you pull out a single thread from a tapestry, it alters that tapestry forever.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're a community where occasionally we will lose someone that we love in this community, and that thread will be pulled out, and yet someone else will come along to fill in where the filament belongs, to take that place, to make that journey with us, to come on our supernatural shenanigans and our paranormal, excursions. And it's a beautiful thing. And that is embraced by the rest of the community. I don't find a lot of infighting in the paranormal. I don't find a lot of shunning. I know it's got its politics, it's
what
like, this is my, a different kind of politics. It's like, this is my evidence here. I'm not sharing it with anybody.
Right.
And I get that, because I mean, there's something about this field too, where, we all want everything to be so authentic that it is, like when somebody puts their work out, it gets scrutinized more harshly from within the field than it ever could outside the field. And so there are an awful lot of people that, kind of withhold, hang on to their evidence or their whatever, and share it only among, their closest tribe. So that's a problem. That's an issue in the field, I think. But overall, the most wonderful people. Oh, I knew it. I knew Tony would have to say something about that. I knew it.
Yeah, listening to everything you guys are saying, everything you said, Andrea, is right on par. But there's a uniqueness to the paranormal community that accepts and shares and accepts what we have in common and accepts what we may have a difference in. And those are just accepted. You get outside of that community and everything changes. Now, like you're saying, the thing about protecting evidence and where it was captured and all that. Yeah, sometimes that's a real shame. And I've said this over and over, that the only way we're ever going to find answers is as a group, not as individuals. But there are so many advantages, and it doesn't matter what side of the paranormal community you're on, whether that's extraterrestrial, spirit, paranormal, or anywhere in between, multidimensional creatures. There are those consistencies within the behavior of people that has attracted, that binds us together as a group. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I had never been, that was the St. Augustine, the Strange Escapes event was my first paranormal event. I'd never done one. I've watched every paranormal show on Discovery, lots of them twice. But I had never done one. And we talked about this. Like, I was just when I walked into that cocktail event, I'm socially awkward on some level anyway. And then after being in quarantine for a year and a half, it was much worse. But like you said, everyone is there for the same reason.
Yes.
From all over the place, all walks of life, all different kinds of people who do all kinds of different things in their world, but they all are united by all of this, the paranormal and all of that. It is a uniting thing. And everybody, it was so lovely. Everybody was so nice. I mean, it was an experience. It really changed me. I just didn't realize that this merry band of weirdos, as I've kind of started referring to it as, was a thing. I had no idea, I mean, is how I felt, Yeah. There's a lot of the girls from the St. Augustine event that are coming down to Casadega.
I know. I'm so thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm so delighted about that. Yes.
Me too. I wouldn't have met those people without that event.
Well, it's we're doing a fundraiser to preserve the temple, which is a beautiful old church right at the base of the village, down a hill and off to the corner. And it's a beautiful, beautiful old church. And I've lectured there several times. This will be the first time that I'll ever be there as a minister, which is so weird, because I've been legally, technically a minister for 6 months. And the lovely woman, Jody, who made all the arrangements for me and who I worked with, to get all the information to and everything, she said something that threw me, don't laugh. She said, should I list you as Reverend Andrea Perrin? And I just about spit my coffee out all over the place. Like, no fucking way did she just say that. Oh my God.
What'd you say? Please tell me you said yes.
No, please, no. Oh my God. No.
You got to do it once for kicks, right?
No.
I mean, just once.
No.
No? Okay.
No, I still have a filthy mouth. I still have, I mean, nothing has changed. Nothing except a piece of paper. So that, maybe someday if I change my attitude about marriage in general, I could marry somebody technically. But, I felt the calling for a very long time, but during, just because of my nature and how I have a tendency to step in and be, not only a diplomat in hairy situations, but also one who ministers to those in need. And I've always been that way. Yeah. But over the whole COVID fiasco, I became what I was 25 years ago when I worked at the school that I worked at. I was, among other things, I wore several hats, but among others, I was the grief counselor on campus. Like if something horrible happened in a family or a friend of, any of my boys that I cared for, I was the one that got called.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of training, and basically what I learned is the only thing that you can do to console inconsolable grief is to listen. Just to physically be in shared space, hold a hand, let them cry and listen.
Yep.
A hug when it's appropriate, and, just let somebody grieve, because there's no getting around it. It's not something you could just avoid unless you don't have any feelings at all. And, if you've never loved, then you've never lost. So, these were some of the toughest kids on the planet. I mean, really tough kids. And yet, if they lost a parent or a sibling, or, something horrible happened in their lives, I got the call and went off to a very quiet, comfortable place with them for hours until they could breathe again. Yeah. Until they could just breathe again.
Yep.
And sometimes I had to, because it was a residential facility, sometimes I had to be the one with, their clinician to break terrible, terrible news to them. And during the pandemic, all of that bubbled back up to the surface. All of it did. And I realized, I need to just go ahead and do this. But no, don't call me Reverend. Unless we put that word in front of every single human being's name, and then I would be okay with it. If everyone referred to each other as Reverend, because that's what we owe to one another, is that kind of affection and respect, and just acknowledgement of who we are and why we're here and where we come from, and that we are all in this together.
And it can, the division in this world is tougher when you're so, I think, really engulfed in 3D. Whereas I think for some of us who play in 5D more often, and speaking for myself only, COVID's been okay for me. Like, I haven't had a massive need to be social, because I know that that connection's a little bit different because the world is so much bigger, or your universe is so much bigger. But it did bring up a lot of things for a lot of people, especially the grief, like you said, and you look at, healthcare workers, teachers, you take your pick. People have had their asses handed to them on every level that is possible this year, or in the last year and a half. Yeah. And kindness goes a really long way, and it's really not hard. And I think that's so much of the message for so many of us. It's just, we just want to spread that light just to make it a nicer place to live. Compliment your friends and tell them they look nice today. Tell them they did a good job. Thank them for stuff. Just spread that a little bit, because we need that more than anything else, I think.
Yeah. Kindness, understanding, comforting. one another through such a difficult time.
Yeah.
Such a difficult time. You know, it has, I feel humbled. You know, honest to God, Erin, I told you, I've been lecturing for more than a decade about here comes the paradigm shift. Here it comes. I'm telling you, here it comes. Yeah. Everybody get ready. And then it flattened me. It leveled me. Yeah. When I finally realized that it was here. You know, I talk about the last few years just piling on and piling on and piling on. And then boom, let's throw in an invisible, deadly virus on top of everything else and see where that gets us. Oh, and then let's, you know, see a Black man murdered in the street.
Yeah.
And the whole world coalesces around that. The whole world. Yeah. You know, let's pile that on. I mean, this is a reckoning. If there ever was one, this is a reckoning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think about natural disasters, fires, floods, you know, hurricanes. I mean, the last 2 seasons, I think
Australia burned.
Right? Yeah. Mother Earth is very angry, and rightfully so. I mean, you and I talked about this recently. I mean, in however old this Earth is, billions of years, whatever that number is, I don't know. We're going to be able to, humans are going to single-handedly destroy that in a matter of a couple 10,000. I mean, what does that say? I think that's what's scary. And Gaia's had enough. She's firing some shit up to kind of, you know, make us get ourselves in line. And like we've talked about with the galactic family and stuff like that, they're trying to save us from ourselves. You know, we're on a path of implosion, and some of us are desperately trying to keep it from going that way, you know? Just spreading what little love we can with whoever we can. And but it takes a lot of us to do it. So
it does. It does. You know, I tell Tony all the time, I know he's sitting there, he's laughing in the background. I know he is, because I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be preaching to the choir again tonight. Except that the choir is growing. The choir is growing.
It's true.
And that is amazing. And, you know, now to take this show and leapfrog, take a quantum leap forward with it to KGRA. Are you okay, honey? Excuse me one moment.
The princess has arrived.
The princess. Oh my God, it's my baby. Oh my God. Oh my, look what we have. The fox.
Oh, I've seen
the fox. Have you got the COVID? Have you got the COVID, honey?
Are her nails still pink, or is that all gone now?
No, they're still about half pink. Here, look, mommy's got the fox. I got the fox. I got the fox, babe.
The appropriately sized fox for the appropriately tiny dog.
I know. Okay, we're going to put it on the computer. There we go. All right, so this is the Princess Peanut Buttercup, and she's got the allergies. She's got that. You know Peanut now. You know her well. She's got the allergies.
Uh-oh.
Only a few weeks in the fall and a few weeks in the spring.
Damn
where
right.
It sounds like she's got the COVID, but she doesn't. She's just got the allergies. I know. She snorts. Yeah, she snorts. Everybody's saying hi, Peanut, honey. I remember I'm teaching her how to read.
Excellent. How's it going?
Don't get your expectations up too high. She's still quite young. I didn't know how to read when I was 2 years old.
Also fair.
My baby.
She just looks at y'all with so much love. It's so cute.
She was having an issue. She's better now. Now she's a mommy slap. Okay, so I forgot what I was saying, but oh, she's so sweet. Yes, my friend Heather calls Peanut her niece. she's Auntie Heather.
My parents are Monkey is their grand dog. So
yeah.
That's a real thing.
I know. You have to bring Monkey over. I'm sure they get along fine. Yes, I'm sure they will.
He is actually okay around Chihuahuas. He's been around them before. It seems to be the bigger dogs that are usually the problem, but he's pretty chill.
Yeah.
They'll be great. He's an old man now, so he doesn't get around as quickly as he once did. He's hiding in our bedroom somewhere under the his little setup that he's got in there. But I'll have to bring him down to meet the Peanut. He'd love your yard. So
yes. Yeah, we do have a nice, generous yard, fun to run around in. Although somebody got in trouble this morning in the backyard.
oh, what did she do?
She figured out that she was small enough to get up under the shed
Oh
and dug a little bit of a hole,
no.
just enough to get her little fat belly down underneath it, and
Oh
crawled up
no.
under the shed and started chasing a chipmunk. And she would not come out until I said, "You better get out here. Grandpa said, get out here now." And then all of a sudden, the nose comes out from underneath, like, really? Am I in trouble?
It's like dropping the first and the middle name at the same time when you say grandpa. It's like,
Yeah, Grandpa said. That will get her in the house
That was
every single time. Grandpa said, yes, I know it. I know.
she's like, but
So-
I'm just sitting right now, Mom.
I know. She's so good. She's so precious.
Dogs are
So,
the best.
what are you intending to do? I know you're working with crystals. And I know that I've got somebody I need to connect you with.
Okay.
My friends, Chris and Wes Carpenter, have a crystal business or rock,
nice.
stone. I mean, everything. They've got everything from Petoskey stones from Michigan to, you know,
Nice.
stuff from all over the world. I mean, just amazing. They did a show with me. They did a World Awakening with one night. Well, Christine did anyway.
Nice.
And her husband just hid. It's like he was in another room in an undisclosed location.
You'd like hear him yell every once in a while, like to pitch in.
Yep. And she played her crystal bowls.
Mhm.
And it was the most mesmerizing, most tranquilizing, incredible experience to have Chris play her bowls. And then she brought them to Houghton Lake when we did the UFO contact a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she played her bowls while I
Frequency. How did that help with? I mean, not that you ever have an issue connecting. Obviously, you're always connected, but does that increase that?
Yes,
quite a
it
bit
did.
with that?
Yes, it did.
Excellent.
Yes, it absolutely did. It was wonderful. She was amazing. It was freezing outside that night. I don't know how she did it for as long as she did it. But it was wonderful. And I want to get some of the bowls. I really do. I want to do what she does with them because it is not of this world. It is the most incredible sound. And she played them for us the night on A World Awakening. It was something. It really was. But I want to know, what your intentions are. If you're going to try to, I know you're a Reiki master, and I know that you have clients and all of that. But where do you? So I'm going to ask that stupid question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you see in 5 years?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I've always Mom and I were talking about this earlier today. Like, I don't set 5-year plans. Those are dumb because 5 years ago, you're like, what the hell happened to my plan? Like, that's not the way this is supposed to go.
Not the way I planned it. And then the universe laughs and laughs and laughs.
Totally laughs. Oh, like, oh yeah, you think you're doing this? No. Best laid plans never work out. I don't know. For me, it's like I want to keep exploring this journey, this path. I want to. For me, with the energy healing, I really focus on chronic pain as a person who suffered from chronic pain myself. So there's a really big calling for that. But then I also, I just kind of want to see where it goes for a while. I don't know. I don't know what the next 5 years hold. I hope that I won't be back in an office. I can tell you that for 100% fact.
Yeah.
But I'd like to still be, helping you guys do things and involving myself more in the stuff that makes me happy, the paranormal stuff like that. We can change my life. We've talked about it a million times. So, I mean, did you ask me a year ago if I thought that I would be sitting on your terrace with you and your dad drinking coffee for 4 hours? I'd have told you were out of your damn mind. So I don't know. I don't know what 5 years is going to look like now, but it's exciting to say that I have no idea what that looks like. Is that a terrible answer?
No, that's a wonderful answer. That is the main reason why, as many friends as I have who are psychics or mediums, and there are a handful of people in the world that are bona fide psychic mediums. Chip Coffey is one of them. And every time Chip, tries to help me along a little bit or, give me a heads up about something, unless it's my sister April banging on his back door with a message that she can't seem to get through my thick skull. So she goes to him and then he tells me. I mean, that's really the way it works.
Yeah.
But, I do know Kristen, my friend Kristen, my other friend April Rohn. I mean, I have friends who are really tapped in and turned on and can really project into some kind of a, what does the future hold for you? And occasionally a message will slip through, and it's usually always the same message, and it's this: you're reaching many more people than you think you are. I keep hearing that over and over, and I hear it from them too. I hear it from them. You're reaching many more people than you think you are.
It's a ripple effect.
And that's, the ripple effect.
It's that connection to universal, whatever that is, love, consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but I don't want specifics. I don't want to know.
I don't either. It's like, what's at the end? I'm like, does it matter?
Because
is there an end? Who knows?
No. Think of what you said. The ripple in the water makes its way everywhere. Me listening to this on the west coast of Australia is proof of that.
So true.
Oh, Mr. C. Minion.
So
hello,
true.
dear. Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
That's 2 people now that I know for a fact are from Australia that are watching the show tonight, except they're probably eating their breakfast while they're watching it. That's so great.
That is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, this is like such a, I think for the first time, I think what's kind of freeing about going this route is there is freedom in not having to have an answer. For me, it's like I always had to have an answer for something. I always had to have a time limit. I always had to have a list, a schedule, a blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, fuck it. We'll just see what happens, But leading with that, going with what makes the soul sing will obviously always have to be the forefront of all of that.
Yes.
Trying to spread that light and doing it in a way that helps others. I mean, as well as empath type people, we are drawn to that anyway. So if you can do it in a way that makes your soul sing at the same time, why not do that too?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, I see you growing and glowing, and that's all that matters. Just growing and glowing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've changed since I met you 3-4 weeks ago. Really?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
The
messages are coming, I'm getting, the mediumship thing for me is not a focus. I don't ever I can tell you, I don't ever see myself reading for people. I do feel like for me, if it channels when I'm sending energy or like, got some things for y'all the other day, as far as when I was working on energy stuff, I'll relay that. But for me, I don't think mediumship will be the main road I go down unless it happens to present itself. But I do feel like that things are changing. I don't know if it's a vibrational increase being in y'all's energy field as well. But things have definitely changed over the last few weeks for sure for me.
Yeah, we're definitely on the same wavelength. And the energy between us is just phenomenal.
It is.
And you're really good for my father too. You bring him up. I mean, he can't even contain his enthusiasm, and the ideas are flowing and the synapses are sparking, and you're really, really good for him.
I love him. But I didn't, my grandparents all died. I was 4. So I have never had grandparents. And so I kind of see your dad as sort of like a surrogate, and he's fun. I mean, I could just sit there and listen to him talk for hours. I mean, I did that. You took a nap and he and I just sat in his office, and I don't even think I said a word. I just listened, and I could have sat there for another like 6 hours. I'm like, I got to go let the dog out. I kind of wish I brought him with me. I just stay here. But he brings me up too. You both do,
Well, isn't that what we're supposed to do for each other?
100%.
And I think that we're all supposed to lend a hand and help others rise up out of
Yes.
whatever is holding them back, their grief or despair or fear, and particularly fear.
Yes.
Not everyone has lost someone during the pandemic, but before it's over, everyone's going to know someone who has
Yeah.
lost someone during the pandemic. And if they have an empathetic bone in their body, they're going to feel some semblance of grief around that as well. That somebody that they care about has lost a loved one, whether you knew that individual or not. And so I think that that's a big part of the shift that's occurring, is that all of us are not only having to confront our own mortality simultaneously, but that we're having to witness this extraordinary loss of life that is ongoing. And at this point, I don't even feel any anxiety about it anymore. And I hope that that's not wrong. I hope that I have not become inured to the depth and the breadth of the grief and the numbers and the head count and the worldwide ramifications of this have, I think, just gotten so big and so sad that, what was the song, Comfortably Numb? I've become comfortably numb.
I think there's a lot of truth in
Pink
that.
Floyd.
We get so desensitized that, I would think that's an accurate statement. I mean, it's in a world where technology and information is instant, there's no adjustment period. You just have to take the hits as they come, and so we do. I think we get desensitized, and I understand how you feel, because you just kind of, the grief is overwhelming. But people like us also have to be careful of that, because we can get too deep into that too. I mean, I don't know about you, but that beginning of when COVID first started, the collective energy was unbearable.
Unbearable. It was unbearable. Tony, Tony, dear, where is he? I know he's there. There he is.
I'm here.
Tony, this is a really good time for you to come into this conversation and share your feelings about all of this period of time that we've been going through. I want to know, you're a very sensitive man, more sensitive than most in my experience. How has this affected you? I mean, can you relate to what we're saying? Were you somehow able to, rise above it, or, how has it impacted you?
It's impacted me in ways that are obviously personal to me and my family. But I think the overall aspect, I mean, you consider this to be, when COVID first came into light and people became aware of it, you were the first one, Andrea, to say, this is the paradigm shift. That shift doesn't revolve around the virus itself.
Right.
It revolves around what the virus is doing. And there isn't a person on the planet, I don't care what country, what area, that it hasn't or will not affect. Yep. And those effects of the virus are what will determine how society reacts to one another, how we help or dissolve from the interaction with other people. And that shift is dependent on us coming together as humanity and helping, sticking up for, protecting, loving one another. That is where the shift will occur. Some will fail and some will succeed. And to me, has there been impacts to me personally? Yes, there has. Have there been impacts to friends, family members, people that we care about? Absolutely. but it is that end result, which you, Andrea, have been preaching for years about what's important, how people should treat each other, accept them, love them, be kind to one another. I mean, society, we've known that forever, but have we succeeded in it? No, we failed terribly.
Miserably.
And right. And this virus, to me, is more of an eye opener of what we've been doing, how we've been treating one another, right? To open that consciousness to say we're doing something wrong.
Yep.
Now, here's an opportunity where we're putting it right in your face to show it to you. How are you going to react? What are you going to do to change and fix it? And, you know, I'm really hoping that that paradigm shift that you speak about will sink in, allow people to realize that what's important here is not what you do, how much money you make, how many possessions you have, but how we treat one another, how we care, how we react to situations. And that's where that shift has to begin to occur. And that not only, like you were talking about, to save the planet. I mean, we're the only species on the planet that not only hurts each other, but destroys the planet we live on.
Yeah.
That's insanity. And, you know, then you talk about the galactic family who's keeping an eye on us going, oh, you know, God, what are they doing today? Building more nuclear weapons. So many mistakes we're making. And we get shown that over and over. Now it's time to take notice and do something about it.
Yeah. And if not now, when?
Right. If it doesn't happen now, we won't be here to get the opportunity to change it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Well, thank you. I really love your perspective. I love your heart, Tony. I just do. And you know, and I want you to kick in with this conversation because your perspective, even though, you know, so incredibly similar to our own, it comes from a different place, a different set of experiences that you've had in your life to this point. And frankly, I like the balance. I think that we're beginning to really strike a balance between male and female. I have found a lot of the men in my life throughout the course of this pandemic, including my father, have softened a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are not pulling the you know, well, especially my dad, you know, that little bit, he's got a little bit of macho thing going. And I, you know, I had pretty much success.
You gotta love Roger, though. He's great.
I know. But, you know, he's gotten, and Peanut has had a big part in that too. You know, she has softened him. He was down, don't tell anybody. Okay. But he was down on the floor playing with her today. No, Erin, don't come over here. And you know the little round rug in front of the fireplace that's got the raised pile in it, and he's down on the floor with her.
The visual's great.
With her bone. Her bone. He went out and bought her a new toy monkey the other day because, you know, I said, well, you know, Erin's got a monkey, and he said, well, I'll get Peanut a monkey. Then I know. So he comes home from Publix with a new monkey, and he's down with the fox on the floor, rolling around like, you know, two little kids. And I just sat there. I'm like, oh my God, this is so precious. You know, that's what love can do.
Yeah.
My father loves this little dog, my Peanut Buttercup, as much as I do. And she has been such a saving grace in our lives. I know all of us have dogs. All of us love them like we birthed them ourselves. And it's such a part. It releases, I think, a certain part of our humanity. You know, the very best of us, when we have something smaller than ourselves that requires our care and our concern, and for us to feed them and to walk them and to meet their needs and buy them toys and let them sleep with us and cuddle. And for as much as we bring the best of humanity into their lives, they're releasing the best of our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
To the world.
True.
We don't typically deserve dogs as a species, most humans.
I know. It's true. It's true. Tony's got the cutest little dog. He's about that big. It's just
she's right here on the floor laying next to me.
Yeah, go get her. Go get her, Tony. Bring her on.
She's coming. Now you're absolutely right though, Erin. We don't deserve them because they give unconditional love, and no matter what you do or what mood you're in or how you're or how you're feeling, they always treat you. They are so excited to see you. They are so excited to have you walk through that door.
965 pounds, otherwise I'd pick him up.
They're just something that you can't beat that connection to. And if that connection between what a dog gives to you on a regular basis, if the rest of humanity would do that, we'd solve half our problems. And I can't help but wonder if that energy change in us would literally change the way that, say, COVID is changing and making different versions of itself.
Yeah,
and if that energy level of us could stop that from happening. But because we are so negative, and you were talking about circumstances and that this is soul school and everybody is here to learn something, and part of me thinks that we choose what we're going to learn in this life before we even start
get here. Yeah,
right. But we get so held up in what we're trying to figure out and the decisions to make, and that we forget about the rest of society and the human race. And that's one of the biggest problems. And I think if we could fix that, I just think so many other things, that energy level would change so many other things that are happening in the world. And part of it's our own doing. And, hopefully it'll get changed. Right, Evie?
Energetically, I think, having now discovered that as a thing that I really understand, I feel like on some level, like I can't wrap my brain around the size of the universe, right? Like that blows my mind. But understanding it energetically, it's like, okay, I get that, right? Because you have that connection, that common bond, that common ground. And if everything's made up of energy, and we've talked about this a lot, Andrea, we can create our own disease. We can create our own. It's still energy.
Cure it.
And cure it, right?
So fix it. You can heal yourself. You can, but we are so trained to not trust ourselves, not trust the feelings around us and the energy that we're exposed to. We just shut that off. Right. And so you're kind of swimming in the deep end and you don't know how to swim because you are missing that element that makes up everything. That kind of makes, like, once I started figuring that, it was like, oh, that makes sense, And I think with COVID, you're right. It is a symptom and it is a result of a complete world and societal breakdown. And it had to come out somewhere. So this is, this century's disease. It's cancer this go around, for lack of a better term, because we have created this and this is the result energetically. Yeah. Whether it's lab created or not, doesn't even matter. This is an energetic issue. It was going to come down.
Hell or high water. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you look at history too, roughly every 100 years, something comes out and right. And if you think about it, it's kind of like a rebalancing, making the human race rethink things. Yep. And
recalibrating our GPS.
Right. That's a great analogy. That's exactly what it's doing. And that we've strayed so far away from what's truly important. And this is it's a symptom to be able to get us back on track and go, okay, you know what? Family's important, friends, people, relationships, not everything that I thought was important. And
Yeah.
hopefully some of those changes will take place, because one of the things we do the poorest is take care of other human beings. I mean, it is the one thing we as a human race are just pathetic at.
Oh yeah. And it's control, it's power, I mean, if people could really step back and see it for what it is, and I think that's what's, for those who are starting to get there on their journey or whatever, I think that's what you realize so fast, is that you, whether it's societal or how you're whatever, we are not thinking for ourselves, and we're certainly not thinking in the best interest necessarily of other people. But I feel like that's because we're missing the tools, like if we don't understand the crux of the issue, because like you said, every 100 years, there's kind of this reset. So clearly, generationally, we're not getting it, right? So what does it take for it to become a shift, like an actual, because it has started, obviously, the shift is happening. But is it going to stick this time, right? Like, is it going to stick, do you think?
Right. That's an excellent point. And you've got so many other things that add energy to those distractions, religious backgrounds, politics. They rip at the threads that, are barely hanging together today, because, all that thought of us helping other human beings to be better people gets absolutely just constructed with political diversities, religious diversities, and then you've got political governments using them to get groups angry at each other. And it's just, if you back away from all of it and look at it from a 40,000 foot perspective, it's absolutely insane. None of it, whatever reason that information is being put out there to cause those struggles, the wars, the whatever case you look at, just isn't worth it. Isn't worth it, no matter what the reason, just isn't worth it. And the fact that can't be seen, to me, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't take this shit with you when you're done in this meat suit. It's all
exactly.
gone.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. Somebody needs to tell a boatload of people that, I had the great good fortune to meet and speak at length with Edgar Mitchell before he died, the astronaut. And, I can't quote him verbatim, but there's a wonderful quotation out there, something that he wrote about grabbing every politician by the scruff of the neck and dragging them off to the surface of the moon and forcing them to look back at the earth. And he ends the quotation with, and what I would tell them is, look at that, you son of a bitch. There are no boundaries. There are no, walls. There is landmass and ocean, and we all share it. We all share it. And what he was trying to say in his unique way with him, I loved how vulgar he was. He was just a wonderful, wonderful man. What he was trying to say is, wake up and see what this is. This fragile, delicate blue ball lingering in the back corner of a solar system in the far end of a universe. Wake up. This is all we've got. There is no plan B. There is no planet B. And would we even deserve a planet B if we can't maintain, sustain, protect, and heal the planet that we have? Why would we deserve another one?
We wouldn't.
Transplant that fucked up mindset to another place and then go destroy that.
Yeah.
It's no, that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
This is our last chance. I think that's safe to say and fair to say. This is it. This is our last chance. And I think that we're all here with purpose and reason for this event to occur on the planet. I really cannot help but feel like we're here deliberately, all of us, so that we can together achieve a true realization of oneness. And part of what COVID is doing is cleansing the earth without any, it doesn't discriminate. It'll kill anyone. Doesn't care who you voted for, doesn't care what color your skin is, doesn't care what sex you are, doesn't care who you sleep with, does not care. If you happen to be a host that cannot either fight it off to the point where you can survive it, or if you don't happen to be a host that can simply host it, and you don't even know that you have it, but it's using you to spread to every single person that you encounter, because you're a super spreader, a walking super spreader. And it's already been proved that, that's how it's very smart. It's got some kind of intelligence, some kind of consciousness that we don't know how to relate to, but it's very intelligent, and it has figured out how to replicate itself in the most hosts, and it's cleansing the planet, not only of those, now that we have some help in terms of mitigating it, cleansing the planet of those who have not availed themselves of that help. The vast majority of people dying from COVID now have said thanks, but no thanks to the vaccine. Okay, your choice, fine, except that you might be infecting thousands of other people that you come in contact with during the course of a day. If you can live with that, your choice. However, it's cleansing us with tears.
Right.
It is cleansing us with tears, because the only true measure of love, in my humble opinion, is the corresponding grief that occurs with the loss.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Our world is awash in tears and grief right now. Not just a legitimate fear of an invisible virus, but the indescribable, inconsolable grief in the losses which have occurred. And yeah, I'm getting numbed up. I am. I can actually watch the news without crying now.
Yeah.
That was not true even 6 months ago. That was not true.
Yep.
Right.
And now I just do the math. But every single number on that screen is a fractured family.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yep.
Well, I remember you saying, and I don't even know how long ago this was, probably one of our first shows, but that this was the first time in 100 years or more that people actually had to look at their own mortality based on the fact that this was going around, and that if it wasn't them, it may have been a family member or someone close. But you're right. It's that understanding that you don't know whether today, tomorrow, next month, whether it could take you out. And I remember you saying that, oh my gosh, I don't even know how long ago, but that was one of your first statements about it, is that it's a recognition that we are all vulnerable to this. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your social status, political status, doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. And that was an eye-opening to the entire world that, hey, this is a concern. And that, I think, is what started the whole, hopefully, shift in the paradigm to hopefully better behavior. But that we'll still have to wait and see.
Yeah, jury's out on that. Wouldn't you agree, Erin? Jury's still out on that. Are we going to make it or break it?
Man, it's hard to say. I don't, I mean, you and I have talked about, because I wasn't vaccinated at the St. Augustine event. I wore my mask. I mean, I hiked up the damn St. Augustine Lighthouse with a mask on my face. But, I think for so many of us, those of us still, staying home unless you don't, not going out to concerts and things like that, still respecting guidelines and being, careful. Right. But there had to be a point where something was going to push me over the edge, right? Like one way or another. And it wasn't like I was trying to, I'm not one of those people who was like, it's my civil rights. It wasn't like, I wanted more information. And with the way things are now, everybody's got an angle. So you don't really know what to believe necessarily. But it took, talking with you and your dad. But then someone very close to me got very, 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 very sick with COVID pneumonia. And watching it was horrifying. And that was it for me. I went and got my shot. I think about a week later. I got to get number 2 here soon. But, I don't know. I think there's unfortunately still so many people in this world that are putting non-human being issues at the forefront of all of their decisions. Because, this is not a political issue. This shouldn't be a left issue, a white or right issue, a red issue, a blue issue. This is a human being issue, and it's worldwide. And until everyone starts to see that that's what this is, I don't know. How many more rounds of this are we going to go through where it, fades off and then comes back with a vengeance, especially, we're in Florida where there's no rules.
Yeah, no shit, huh?
It's like that Little Caesars commercial where the guy takes his shirt off and put your shirt back on. Oh, there's one rule, But that again goes back to not being able to be decent to your common fellow human being. And is it really that, pardon my language, fucking hard to do the right thing? Most of us see it that way, but there's a healthy amount that still can't get on that train. So I don't know what it holds.
But the other difference is that, when I went to kindergarten, I couldn't even step foot in unless I had all my vaccinations. I
still have my smallpox scar right here.
Yep. It wasn't up for discussion. There wasn't social media that everyone could discuss it and throw out alternative plans. It is what it was. Yeah. Yeah. And if you wanted to go to school, which you had to have your vaccinations. Mm-hmm. Nobody fought about it, or you just did it. And so that's the difference today, is that, all this other information is going around. People have sources that may be legit, may not be. Yeah, okay, maybe there was some disagreement on, what was being done, who was doing it, how it was being done. But the fact of the matter that getting a vaccination was nothing new. Why was this one fought so difficultly about whether it was the right or wrong thing to do? That's foreign to me. I don't understand that.
Well, I think that's part of the shift too. I know, and we've talked about this in the past about big picture. Darkness and light. You can't, in our 3D 5 sensory little eggshell that we live in, there are elements of both in all of us. I didn't know, I did not know that I had so many toxins within me. There's a lot that has risen to the surface in me over the last few years, a lot that I didn't even know was there, because nothing had ever provoked me before like I've been provoked.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it changed me. It really did. And it started to change me to the point where I had to say, whoa, wait a minute. You're kind of becoming what you don't like. So
soul school.
Yeah. And that was a wake-up call. I don't think it's one big epiphany wake-up call. I think it's a series of little, ring the bell, tap on your shoulder. Hey, pay attention to this.
Yeah.
This is happening. And then we've got the government lying through their fucking teeth to us about, what's going on with, with this, here, look over here. Meanwhile, we're about to slam into the Titanic's about to slam into the iceberg, and they want us to pay attention to the snowflake over here. It is also complicated. It is also convoluted. It is also difficult to absorb and process. And it's no wonder people don't have even the energy left to go within, get silent, be still.
Yes.
self-love, nurture, their inner child, their soul, when they're being absolutely bombarded by external stimuli. Have you noticed, Tony, I hardly ever even put up a notification about the show until just a few minutes before it goes on air. Yep. Because if I do it too early, if I put everything up out on all of my platforms about the show airing tonight at 8, by 9 o'clock, something will have intervened with a lot of our viewers.
Yeah,
something else will have distracted them, pulled them away, gotten their attention, diverted them elsewhere. And so I hit it right away, that kind of spontaneous, wow, we're coming on, And
right.
And I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I'm just trying to knock on their door, and then have them open it. And then here we are.
Right. It's that attention. It's that attention factor, and it only lasts so long. And it doesn't regardless of whatever the situation is, it's a fact, because other things, like you said, intervene, steal that attention, distract. And so, that's.
I think we've all got ADD to a certain extent. We all have attention deficit disorder. And it's really because we're just blown away with so much information and so much of the damage we do to ourselves by spending too much time online, by, engaging in, threads of commentary when we should be more focused on what do we need to accomplish today? Instead we'll get dragged off onto Facebook, which is addictive. I don't care if it's the official home of the paranormal. I don't even look at my news feed anymore. I don't, because I don't want to see a post from someone that I know and then think ill of them. So I prefer not to look. Because I have thousands and thousands of people that are, following me, for lack of a better word, and their stuff comes up, and some of them I have an awful lot in common with, and some I have nothing in common with. Yeah. And if, they post something that I find offensive, or I'm, morally opposed to, or I just can't handle, it just doesn't resonate with me, I don't want to know anymore. So I guess in that respect, I've kind of withdrawn. I use my phone. If I find something really, really cool on my phone in my news feed, I'll post it to Facebook. It's like, here, I'll share this, is really cool. Oh, look at this asteroid. Oh, look at this volcano. Oh my God, look at
this puppy.
Pacific, I mean, really, it's look at the puppies. I know it. I know.
But again, it's, if we understand things are energy and frequency, then you have to guard yours, and you have to be, that's the biggest thing I've learned, is I had no boundaries of any kind, energetic, in my life around people. And once I started recognizing that and shifting the things that maybe were negative, that I wasn't really realizing as a negative, like most of my feed these days is spirit stuff, dogs, and more dogs, really, or tacos, probably. But
tacos.
It was a conscious decision to remove the negativity that I was kind of like, well, this doesn't make me feel good. It's almost like kind of doing a Marie Kondo thing. Like, does this bring me joy? If not, bye. Mm-hmm. So it was a conscious decision. So I understand that, because especially as sensitives, you have to guard that to some degree for your own sanity and health, because that can wear you out quick,
Yeah.
So COVID's been kind of good for that in that regard, because it kind of forced some of us to really, like you said, go within, but really preserve your energy too. You really had to, you got a good sense of what it was like to reset energetically on some level,
Yeah.
How are you going to get that any other way?
Yeah. No, I slept for 2 months and ate gallons of ice cream and watched the news and cried for the first couple of months, 2-3 months. Just cried and cried and cried and cried. I just didn't know that I could cry that much, and all I did was cry.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't breathe.
I couldn't breathe. That was my mantra for 2020. I mean, it wasn't just, George Floyd's final words. It was mine as well. I felt like the universe had a knee on the neck of humanity.
Yep.
And we could feel it. You could
And we could
feel
feel it. I mean, it was
an
like that
oppressive weight. We were
Yep.
pinned. We were pinned and wriggling to the wall. Which is from a wonderful poem. I'll have to look that up and share that with everybody. No, it's something my mother wrote, actually. Pinned and wriggling to the wall. And that's how it felt to me. Absolutely oppressive and stymied, suffocating is what it felt like most of 2020. And just sheer anxiety, not knowing what was coming next, not knowing what variant was going, it was going to morph into what was it going to morph into next before, not having a vaccine, not even having a vaccine on the horizon. Those were the scariest times.
Yeah.
Well, and they're not over with yet because it's still morphing. I mean, they've got the booster out now. If you've had your shot for 6 months, you can go get the booster.
Yeah, but, I know. I'm going next week. Yay.
Nice. Yeah. Well, who knows what's next?
There it is. No, put it in this side because this is my mouse arm over here.
Gotta have the mouse arm.
Gotta have the mouse arm.
Couple days it was, but to me, that's just like it was a good little pain because it was telling me it was working, and it kind of knocked me out. Although I think it was from more relief than anything else that I got so tired after I had my shot, and especially my first one. It was from relief. I'm past the point of just, even wanting to argue or try to convince anybody of anything anymore. Everybody's on their own now, as far as I am concerned. I am just going to focus on my message. All the proper information is out there. It's all out there. What's that phrase that I like so much? In the age of global communication, willful ignorance is a choice. It's a choice. It is.
Yeah,
it's true.
And,
it is.
I'm not going to condemn anybody. I'm not going to judge anybody. I've, kind of gone through that phase already. I'm just done with it. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Let the chips fall where they may. Honest to God. I can't care anymore more about people than they care about themselves. I just can't.
Right.
I'm not going to expend my energy that way anymore. I'm not.
No. And we have to keep the vibrations high so that we can keep helping other people raise theirs to help the collective goal of raising it for everyone, because it's important,
Yeah, it is.
The other thing that makes it difficult is, like we were talking about before, is that everybody's individual path is different, and what lessons they may need to learn this lifetime are different, and the decisions they make and the choices they make will eventually unfold those lessons. I mean, there's not a person nearing towards the end of their life that probably doesn't look back and say, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, or I wish I had done this differently. And that's what you're going to take with you. And everything that's leading up to that point is preparing them for what's going to look back on and go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, or I wish I could have corrected that. And those are where the soul school, those are where the lessons are learned. And, in going through those, when everyone's individual path is different and what they need to learn or find out or experience, that's where conflict can come in with people to accentuate those clashings. Because for somebody on a different path may say, well, wait a minute, no, forget about that. This is a bigger deal. But, to them, maybe not. But that also accentuates the difficulty in getting something as simple as getting people to help each other, love each other, and survive. That to me is crazy, when something that simple should be obvious.
Yeah.
Well, where did that 2 hours go, Tony? I know time's an illusion, but oh my God, 2 hours just went by in 10 minutes.
Flew by.
Oh my God. Well, my darling, I hope you had a wonderful time with us tonight. I know you love Tony as much as I do now. I mean,
I
how can you
do.
not?
It was
Isn't
a
he
pleasure
great?
to meet you, Erin.
Oh,
Absolute
the pleasure's
pleasure.
all mine. It was an honor, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And it was a blast. One of those things you can just put on your bucket list that you didn't even realize was on your bucket list, right?
Well, I want everybody to reach out to you, and you can go. Unfortunately, the commentary on tell me if I'm wrong about this, Tony. The commentary on the YouTube is not preserved after the show, but it simulcasts also on Facebook, and so
that
you
is
can
preserved.
go back. Yeah, and you can go back into the feed and see all the comments from all the wonderful, lovely people that have been eavesdropping with us tonight and engaging as well. Melissa, I love Melissa. Oh my God, she is so wonderful. I have the best friends. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. It's wonderful. Thank you. See, great show this morning. See, I told you he was having breakfast.
Morning in Australia. Yep.
So let's just keep spreading our light, the best that we can. And now I spread Lucy light, because I have to, because otherwise I would cave from the loss of her.
Yeah.
I would. And so I have to breathe, just breathe and rise up, and let that be our message and our lesson for tonight's show is we have a choice in all things. We have a choice, and we can choose to linger in the shadows, or we can choose to live in the light. And I choose to live in the light, and so do you, and so do you, and so do countless others that gravitate to this beautiful place in cyberspace that we share once a week. So thank you for joining us, my darling, and all your information's in the feed. So anybody that wants to reach out to you, or anybody that you want to engage with, I encourage you to do that, because anybody that's an aficionado of this show is worthy of your friendship. So reach out and broaden your horizons a little with this incredible eclectic group of weirdos. They're great.
Love it. I love it.
And we'll see you next week live from
in person.
KGRA with the phenomenal Mr. John E.L. Tenney as our first guest. And we will shoot A World Awakening into the stratosphere. So, please feel free to join us on the launch. I love you all. Have a lovely, lovely evening. And best wishes for a happy Halloween. Good night.